Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. We're taking a few minutes to get in the room, get in and see where we fit in, plug in and play here, okay? I'm just going to thank the spirit and thank the goddess. Tune in with the frequency of today. It's Soul Purpose Saturday. So the purpose of Soul Purpose Saturday is to elaborate, elucidate, illuminate the soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny for the collective. Now, Saturn tends to deal with an energy of those who are suffering. Although Saturn gives great gifts, it is a malefic, so it tends to block or slow down benevolent things, social grace, ease, and emotional comfort, typically in the lower world, how the unawakened soul would perceive it. Hi, hello, and welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. You may also know me as Mama Ablossi, Baba Radha. I have many other names. It's actually T. Radha Ablossi is my name officially. My legal name is one of those lullaby, rainbow, sunshine, lollipop names. I'm just talking randomly, babbling for the first few minutes while those fill up the room. Hi, and welcome to the Soul Purpose Saturday sermon. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. You know, the latest that the sermon should be is by 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard. I call that -8. I know that's not true. It's actually -7, but in my mind's eye, that's what I'm seeing. I'm dealing with the fallen technology there. I would like this to go live at noon Central African time, which is basically 3 a.m. Pacific time in the morning. Those in the Eastern world will get it before the Western world. It feels to be the way the goddess wants. I'll tune in, check in there, make sure I'm correct on that. From what I understand, I should share some of this stuff. So those in the inner circle, you would know what that means. Doesn't really mean anything. It really means whatever it means to you. Students, children, clients, check in with me about that. Remind me about that. I will make that information public. What the publishing cycle looks like, that's very much lunar energy. So if you want to learn about internal moon energy, you want to get in some of the moon circles, the moon lodges, the moon sisterhoods, brotherhoods, check in about what is the publishing schedule, content schedule. That is the ping that you could search that into the search engine and it'll come up in the psyche. Okay, so Soul Purpose Saturday, Soul Purpose, Mission, Karma, Destiny. I just want to remove some obstacles. When you work with Saturn energy, it's a little bit forcive. I don't mean that in a negative way. It is heavy. It's dense. It can get very dense. Although it's purple in its vibration, which is light body. It's not a dense body. So I was meditating before. I actually got orders. I was sent to the table very harshly. I got just an absolute BS from my supervisor. And what does that mean? Bitch slap from one of the goddesses who ordered me to come to the table. So I'm in trouble right now as we're talking. Um, this message has to go out. It's not going to be most particularly pleasant. What I can do for you is definitely provide judgment. So if you're in trouble, I apologize. I've been going through my own personal issues, crying in the corner like a little bitch boy. I've been throwing my own personal tantrum, and the goddess just came and nearly knocked my teeth out. And a lot of things need to be judged upon, spoken upon truthfully with clarity. Now, this is going to be a rather harsh guidance for some of you. And it's to wake you up out of illusion and bring you to reality. The King of Swords is judgment. I'm going to give you some contrast. The Queen of Swords is discernment. The Knight of Swords is progress, evolution on a mental scale. It is the mental body. It is the ship you have mastery over as the king that you create by your thought forms. It is literally, as your causal body, it is your thought body, your mental body. Mostly your voice box, mostly your fifth chakra. It does also talk about the 13th chakra. Okay, so for the unawakened person, that's going to be the hangman. For the awakened person, it's going to be the death card. So the hangman is literally you're in water, you're around things that either are positive or negative, and you're unaware, unawakened of things that have mastery over you in your environment, typically your mind. So people don't know that they're earning a living wage and they're going to work and paying a mortgage. So literally they have a dead note and they haven't sat down at the table or sat down and showed up to their life and looked at the fact that they've pledged their life 8 hours a day to some note that has the word death in it. They haven't gone through that list of things, learned about NASA, learned about Illuminati. They haven't taken the time to have mastery over themselves in the world, actual factual. Not in the little mind, what mother, daddy, teacher, preacher taught them, but actual factual for whatever that world's reality is. And the definition of reality is things as they are true in reality as they actually happen. That's the true definition, okay? So when you have mastery over your mental body, it literally means that your thoughts are the part of you that are God. So this version of Brahma, the king, this version of Brahma would be, or this version of the Godhead for the swords, it can sometimes be Shiva. Brahma is more actually fire, I apologize. If it was the queen, it would be Oya, or a lot of the cemetery goddesses. I'm hearing Neriti. So southwest, southeast corner, that axis for some reason is most particular in the cardinal directions that's coming through strongly. Here they're talking about you really need to come to your life, show up, and understand that you're manifesting from your belief system. So they're talking about a full cycle completing according to comings and goings, arrivals, departures of your mental acuity, your mental ability. So the system, structures, foundations that you create from your mental body, how you're living and manifesting from that. And with the king, it's how you're committing to pushing the energy outwards versus the queen receiving inwards. So unlike the knight or the princess, the king makes a commitment. And so since it's a king, it's a male expression. It's pushing this energy outwards, not inwards. Okay, so just returning to my message. Hi, hello, welcome to Vertex of Abundance. My name is Serene Priestess Gorgeous. I'll be your oracle today. I was sent here to preside over the Soul Purpose Saturday, so we'll talk about the Soul Purpose Mission Karma Destiny. What that means is showing up in reality here to live your purpose. So that is to be a blessing in some kind of way, shape, or form or another, and that will be dealing with people, places, and things, okay, and looking for the compassion and the ascension of that, and, okay, pushing the energy outwards towards the collective mainly would be the word. So for most people, that people, places, and things will be people, and for most people, that blessing will be you're awake, you're conscious, you have an ascended viewpoint. So let me just break it down. Trying not to be judgmental, trying not to believe things that limit your power. And if you need to show up and say, hey, this isn't in alignment with me, I need to cut this out of my life. I'm sorry that you're a casualty of that. You need to learn how to deal with your own emotions. I'm going to bounce and walk on to my bigger, brighter, better future. You're going to have to learn the tools, technologies, techniques for that. You're going to need to build systems, structures, foundations from that. And, you could spend your time on excuses or you can spend your time on results. You really can't have both at the same time. So hi, welcome to class. If I just ascend here really quick, it seems like we're coming in to manifest some kind of, Pardon me. We're actually going to get a little bit more of a briefing here. Okay, I took a sidestep there. The other guidance would have been, I'll give also a relationship assessment, but we're going to get practical. It seems like this turned into a little bit of a tutorial. Some people need to get clear on what they're being open and receptive to emotionally. Are you overly horny? I had to say it, meaning translation, spiritual translation. Are you attuning to your, and somebody check in with me about the sound in the comments. Some people need to attune into the, hey, I'm showing up openly receptive, and I have to have something about myself going on. I need to cultivate a bigger, brighter, better life for me. I need to get something going on for me. And then, yeah, I'll open up to other people. But like when you're centered in whatever somebody else decides for your life, if you have no sense of ego, you are vulnerable. And honey, if you're a lamb, you need to educate yourself on how not to get slaughtered. I'm just going to come to the table and say it because it's about that time to get to business. 2020 is 6 months away, my love. Okay? Hi, hello, and welcome. So, if you've been trying to get in touch with me, I guess what I'll just say is I have some legitimate and non-legitimate emergencies, and I decided to sit in crisis, and I learned a lot, but it was rather petty and stupid, and I'm back to work, and yeah, I'll just share that. That'll be my check-in for the non-initiated, those not in launch. If you're a sister and you want to check in with me about it, or if you're a child of mine and you're begging to talk to me, please just, I am obligated to respond to messages that have the subject line check-in. That is my first duty to my spiritual children. And I am fighting and arguing with the goddess about that because I want to run away and be on YouTube and make money. And I need to be doing tarot, and I actually need to be talking to people about their spiritual path and devotional practice before I get to go around and play and do other things. Before I get to go outside, I need to do my homework. And I want to fight with the goddess about that. Okay, so here we are. Yeah, so that was my check-in. This is about driving life forward practically in the third dimension. And it's about expansion, and it's about using the law, the word of whatever's creating this world, whatever's creating this cycle, to do so. So the means, mechanisms, and methodologies, I have to say that unfortunately with the King of Swords telling me here in the position of the subconscious mind. So we're on a journey here going through the physical, and what we've accomplished so far is assistance, progress, affinity. We're in our place of feeling good. I wouldn't necessarily say that we're lazy. There is something subtle in the shadow here about lethargy, Four of Cups in the shadow, Four of Cups in the negative. What does that mean? I'm hearing Dotura. So it's somebody who's a little bit addictive in their nature. Most particularly to buffering is the word. I would, third dimensionally, I would say that's just feeling better, kicking the difficult things down the road, being averse to anything that is not in that comfort, being prone to aspects of laziness, not getting up, making the bed immediately within the first 900 seconds of first breath of the day. You know, not changing into clean clothes, always having a lack of cleansing, just taking on too much psychic residue, sitting in the past more, sitting in their lower bodies more. Definitely, their mind exists more from their emotional reactivity, so they're not showing up and being present, having the awakened witness, awakened observation. A hidden Four of Cups will talk to me about the aspect of needing to train the querent, the seeker, the client, the child, the student, on what is the emotional threshold? What is the Four of Cups? Four representing the threshold of cups, the emotional consciousness. That's the illusion somewhere I'm hearing. And we need to become clear about that. So we're going through a journey here in the emotional and the physical world. There are emotional things that we care about. We want to have a relationship. We want to have a lover. We want to have that little boo bae story, whatever the hell that is for humans. I think it's a silly thing, and I'll laugh in your face about most concepts and ideas that the average and awakened person brings up. So I could be kind in a professional capacity, because if you haven't evolved yourself, love will unravel you. Love spelled backwards is evil or evolve. It's up to you. And you're going to have to deal with some cold, harsh concepts first. So fortunately, we do have this before you have a twin or a soulmate, permanent, lifetime lover situation. So fortunately, we do have this King of Swords there. Now, in terms of your soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny, that tells me somebody needs to use their openness, use their path, their receptivity, use their empathy to create ideas, create door opening situations. But see, I'm guided to tell you how that will be influenced for the unawakened person than for the awakened person. So I had an oopsie. Um, Spirit came through and intervened and did a different protocol for the casting of these cards. Translation. When you cast cards is when you're laying the cards out. For me, I am a Grand Tarot master. I toot every time I get a chance for that because I put in over 23 years of constant obsessive study. I mean, late everywhere. Like a person who has some type of other addiction, mine was cards. Okay? Literally. Cards was my obsession for many, many years. Here's the situation. Spirit came through and intervened, and the way these cards are cast, it's a very specific incantation that comes through because we're doing literally it's a ritual of the word nine, of the number nine, and it's like a look, it's a portal. It's a portal that's very set. It's not open, and it's specifically it's so that you can look or access an energy. It's like a Dropbox. We'll call it the Dropbox. I should really change this reading style to the Dropbox because you keep receiving things that get left for you. Um, I was supposed to go a different way, and the outcome that was going to come through it was going to talk about relationships. And I was taken towards spiritual ascension, specifically of the mental body. Okay, and the style that it got taken, it was a hook. So when that happens, it you know when you apply for a loan and you get like a pre-approval, and then you do the hard underwriting, okay, or you go through the 30 days escrow or whatever, okay, because there's different types of loans, right? Not just a mortgage, right? You go through underwriting, you go through escrow, whatever, and it doesn't clear for whatever reason. That's what we have here. So they're telling me the terms to reapply and get a passing grade because they're saying you're leaving too much on the table and we question you because we don't think you know your worth, and that's a red flag. Okay. It took me a while to get to the point, but I hope I just got there. Hi, welcome. So I'm going to tell you about the karma on an emotional level and how sticky icky that is and how stupid it could be when you're stuck on stupid and you have this third dimensional conditioned and programmed maladaptive adaptive perfunctory idiosyncratic response of going around and around and around expecting to get a different result and whining every time the opportunity to improve your life and build a bigger, brighter, and better something for you comes along and you took the easier wrong versus the harder right, and now somebody else is responsible for your life circumstances. If you're like that, this is going to resonate with you. Now I'm going to give you the flip side, and I hope two things happen. Either you're laughing and you're amused, or you're triggered and you're cursing at me. You're welcome, whatever response that you get. So we were in a situation here where we were given the opportunity to come to a bigger and brighter, better perspective, a bigger and brighter, better horizon, a bigger, brighter, and better option, a bigger and brighter, and better, right? And we kept choosing the lower, the lesser form because it was consistent, it was knee jerk. We had some type of basal aspect of us, lust, codependence, whatever. It's the proverbial I'm an empath and I do nothing but hold space for narcissist kind of problem. Okay. So I'm addicted to this man because I see the good in him, but he can't see the good in himself and he ain't showing up to his own life. So I'm living his life for him. And I'm his coach, his mentor, his lover, his wife, his mommy, and his mentor, his cheerleader. And I'm suffering and my life is not where it should be. And I've externalized my power to this person. So in a sense, he's who I'm serving now. He's my God. He's my benefactor. And he ain't shit. And my life and my aura is toxic because I'm supporting him instead of cutting out a dead cancer. And we can replace the person with a place or a thing, and this thing doesn't have to be an inanimate object. It could be a belief. It could be a habit. Okay. Just get the Hierophant and then get the four different fives, and go through the keywords of any of those, and it'll be exactly what it is. Your belief system is either killing you or elevating you, period. And it's a person, place, or thing and how it manifests. But it's always a belief system that is creating said. Does that make sense? So, in this sense, there's a Buddhist concept coming through. Basically, let me paraphrase it. There's the five senses and then your mind, because the five senses happen in your mind. So if you don't have a sensory mastery over your body and then of your mind, you're underneath. You have an understanding. Not an overstanding, not an understanding, an understanding. If you can't not just see from all your chakras, but see from all those chakras with an open heart, with an open mind, with an open spirit, you're still a slave to something, even if it's of your own mastery. And so the law that you were living and the mastery that you were trying to manifest was of love. Whatever your bullshit thinking is what I'm hearing. I was going to say stuck on stupid, but they told me bullshit thinking. Whatever that was, it was killing you, robbing you, depleting you, however that's going to manifest in your life. Okay, because where we were blocked was in the conscious mind. So we had theories, concepts, ideas, beliefs that weren't solving, weren't harming. See, if it's not a flow, it's not a go. People show you who they are initially. And if what's at the table doesn't nourish you, if you don't fit into the space that's being held for you, you need to move on from it because there's new elsewhere. See, conflict breeds change, but if you're afraid of change, you're not going to get the blessing because even when a blessing comes through, it requires work. And if it's a new blessing, it's going to require different things to sustain that energy. What got you to this table might not get you to the next table. What got you here might not get you there. And see, if you're stuck on defining what there is and filling out if there is safe instead of just seeing where there is and there is new, because God exists in the newness, in the mercy, in the grace, in the forgiveness. See, in the aspect of yearning for higher is where God lives. And if higher is in another person, you're going to manifest people, places, or things in your life. You're going to manifest impermanent things in your life if you're living from a dark place. And you're living in darkness when you're living in ignorance. That's where true hell is, when you're living with your power in a place other than where you are in that moment in time. God lives in the aspect of experience that is infinite. So if it's not eternal, if it's not immortal, it is not eternal. If it is not eternal, it ain't spiritual. Honey, it has a timeline, and that's the whole colonization. Things that are impermanent, things that get forced So if it's something from something, basically, if it's made from something you can see, touch, taste, smell, right, or think of, if it's a person, place, or thing, it is not spiritual. And see, that's the aspect of love. You're looking, you're touching, you're feeling, you're tasting, you're looking outside of yourself to feel things alive in you. So if loving on somebody brings something inside of you out, if loving on somebody makes you a better person, a bigger, brighter, better person, there's an aspect of that is eternal, but then they are a manifestation of something alive in you. So that's what a twin is. You are a spirit. You're one of the 7 colors of the rainbow. And they are perfectly matched to you. They're so much so that you are cut literally from the same cloth. You come from the same rainbow water, right? So the thing is, in the Puranas, it says, the Puranas just means ancient wisdom. It talks about a story, and there's always a story, and the story is called the story of creation, because we can never understand the creator, but we can understand his story. Okay, and his, instead of her, just talks about when it's something that's mystical, but we're talking about something of it that's very tangible. When it's her, okay, we're talking about the experience of something tangible. So the experience of something tangible and the eternal, those are both mystical. So here we are now, conditioned, programmed, reactive, polarized, fragmented, split, okay, from the experience of the eternal. And we're being told what said eternal should be. We're being given what we're supposed to believe about God, what we're supposed to believe about Source. But see, here's the deal. I can tell the person's been conditioned programming about by how they go after love. See, when a person's chasing down drugs, chasing down addiction, chasing down love, it's the same dick, different pair of pants. Whatever it is, whether you're putting it in your mouth, your anus, your vagina, whatever it is. I'm gonna get right down to it. If you're stuffing your hole with something, if you're seeking something outside of yourself, man, woman, whatever hole it is, I'm gonna get right to it. You are chasing the eternal in the physical. The reason why people have addiction, okay? Maybe it's not going one of your holes. Maybe it's going in your arm. I don't know why this vulgar motif is coming through in this channel. It's kind of gross. I hear you. Here's the deal. You're chasing the eternal in something. People that have addiction, I always find when I work with them, there is something about them that is so special that it's difficult for them to show up to the present and have that. Nothing, no person, place, or thing that they're manifesting in their life is nourishing that thing alive in them. And so they're stuffing themselves so they can't show up, so they don't have to feel, so they don't have to be present, so they don't have to be vulnerable because God doesn't meet them when they come out to play. The world doesn't rise to receive them. And see, that's why I'm crying, because you know what? It's always your relationship with the goddess that serves you. When you're seeking something outside of yourself, when you are restless, rest in God. When you are weary, take refuge in God. The world will harm you. It is a person, it is a place, it is a thing. It is an external representation of the collective. And you know what? We're living in the dark ages. We're in the Kali Yuga. Okay, so that's why the king of swords will come out, because that's Mahadev, that's Shiva. Okay, so it says the reason why we're blocked from heaven, the gates of heaven, the 8 of Swords is when you're blocked out of heaven. It's your wisdom, your dharmic ways, your strategy 8, your thoughts, whatever's in your mind is made you more demonic than heaven will allow, and so the gates of heaven are closed, or you're beginning to fall in a sense of now things that you see in the mind, the thought forms, are persona non grata. So it can also, if you're thinking for, because it depends on for me where the card falls and what I'm doing with the client. For me, this talks a lot about Rahu. I know it's Jupiter and Gemini, but it talks about when the mind has the taboo things and if that's going to fit for you in your life or not. Because I like taboo, but it doesn't always work. Okay? So it's really up to you. For here, for this reading, it says you have mastery of these things. The king is the master of the eight. So for me, it's talking about the thoughts need to be expansive. Is it happening to you? Is it happening for you? Okay. And time is a vehicle for which karma can be manifested into physical. Time literally is the measurement of motion for me. And so, I mean, there you go. Alchemy, magic, and other people are lost and stuck on stupid with the third dimensional whatever. Mother, Dada, Teacher, Preacher is what it is. Okay. So now let's get into the ascension aspect of it, because if you're not going on a journey to manifest a person, what it is you're going on a journey to manifest a feeling. You've been given, you have this vision of a feeling, some type of heart resonance, okay? And you build, you cultivate that alive in yourself, okay? And you understand that in an environment. So you can recognize, or you can see, or you can project, eject, incept, concept enough where the seed, the spark turns into a flame. The seed, the spark turns into a flower. The seed, I'm hearing the word pusha. So pusha is a womb. It's a very wet, activated, and fertilized womb, okay? And it gives again. So the initial aspect of entering the portal to the sacred feminine, the womb, you have your fun, and she erupts and she blesses you, and you may come unto yourself, you may come unto the divine at the womb, and then 9 months later, 10 months later, 40 weeks essentially, you may also create a legacy. The seed may turn into a baby, okay, fruit, as we say in the temple. So pusha is the aspect of she gives more than once. She gives many times from one experience. And here in the third, let me explain in the third dimension. You're given a spirit and a soul. Okay, so your body comes from the devil, and your spirit, or the eternal aspect of you that doesn't die, comes from God. And first thing you experience is pain. It's the first pain you ever experience is birth. Welcome to class. Okay, one of the first sufferings is birth. And then the condition of your living and the time through which in which you're born. Okay, so your caste, your class, the family, your rainbow waters. Essentially, your first rainbow waters is your astral family. Whoever's DNA, your blood, you share. And then through your conditioning and programming, we would call that as school. Okay, but the five filters of reality are education, politics, entertainment, religion, and business. And I could teach you how to use those to harm or to heal. I'm a master. Okay, not everybody can do that. Most people are living under those filters of reality. They're unaware of the story, the mystery. So typically they've been giving his story, okay, history, and not the mystery, which is the story of her, the story of we, how we came to be. So the reason of God and the truth of God is Yod He Vod He. I am that I am. I self-law am master. Arm, leg, arm, head. All of those is the truth of the Atman, the spirit and the soul. Okay. So our theories, our thoughts, they block us from heaven. And if we're to be of service here, we need to understand our theories, our concepts, our ideas are calling us to grow. You know, I was talking with a client, and there was the story of adultery and cheating and stepping out of marriage and everything. And I was like, yeah, okay, we make commitments, we make agreements, and honor what those are. And so if you're cheating, it needs to be an agreement and not a judgment or an opinion of somebody else's morals. You're breaking a vow versus, but also honor the fact that your soul is asking you to grow. So the fact that you're having an experience and you're having to go through experience, which yes, is going to involve pain, it's going to be evil for some people, because you're going to have to hurt somebody else by telling them the truth that your heart's no longer aligned with them and that you're pursuing other options. Okay, but what is the antithesis of the situation? Destruction. You're creating room for new life, a new connection somewhere else. And let's not be shallow about this. You don't swing from one branch to the other. Show up, participate with your environment and the experience in which you're in, but also respond to what's alive in you. Okay? So that's the aspect of the love versus the ascension. If you're attracting people, places, and things into your life, make sure that the ship that you're getting on is ascending. It's getting into bigger and brighter and better. Because if you're giving away your power and you're expecting somebody else to feed what's alive in you, that lovers becomes the devil. You experience love in hell because love is light. That's how you come into contact and union with God. But it will enslave you if you're giving your power away. And in the lower realms, love is a weapon. It's designed to take people from their space. And when you have mastery of your space, that's your personal power. But again, honey, I just gave you some mistress school mysteries. That was too encoded for you. You might not get it. I can explain it to you, but I cannot understand it for you. So I hope somebody checked in with me about the sound. Okay, nobody checked in with me at the sound. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I sent you a message on Riot. Hi, Inspiration. I got your email. Okay, so I'm back. For you that are the sisters, if you're Tasi, if you're Hunsi, I'm needing communication. So I should be able to check into the group once a week and say, here's what's alive in me, here's what's going on with my path, here's what's going on with my practice, here's what I need help with, here's why I'm crying, here's why I'm laughing, and why I'm rejoicing. Be my sisters, help me from heart space to heart space. Now, I'm not going to do that to random people. If you're sending a random comment about love light and cherry pops, okay, great, thank you. But if I don't know you until I know what name God named you as. So if you're doing your naming ceremony, if you're a member of a lodge, that's where it is. But I get my needs met through you getting your needs met. So never should you ever think that I'm doing other things that are more important than you. Never should you ever think that I'm blocking you. So check in with me, and when you check in, I'm obligated to read that subject, and you can say I'm feeling neglected. Here's my need that's unmet. Now I will cuss you out if it's deemed, but it's never again. It's good if you're a little fearful, but I should never be able to block you from the gates of heaven. And understand that the purpose of a guru is to dispel darkness. And the thing is, I'd much rather you be scared of me, or I'd much rather put you into the godlike energy. Okay, so that's what my purpose is. I'm the Tower card, T. Radha Ablossi. It's the name of an angel. I'm not going to tell you until 2020. That's the plan. So until then, it's Baba Radha. Let's stop calling Mama Ablossi because you're actually talking about my mother, Aditi. Okay, so it's Baba Radha. I am a two-spirit priestess. I work for the goddess. I represent the goddess. I'm sent on orders by the goddess, not the god. Okay. So that was an intermission. Let's go through the breakdown. Let's finish up with the sermon. I just want to repeat something because I'm unclear on it personally. So we have this Eight of Swords here for the subconscious, for the active mind, the conscious mind, and it's about if it's not a flow, it's not a go. Let friction, adversity is catalyst for success. Understand that you need a red ship. I'm hearing the word that come on. This is a very esoteric reading. What is the third dimensional English to that? If you're not afraid of death, you're fine. And a red ship means that there's going to be violence, destruction, but it can mean releasing a person, place, or thing out of your life that's not in alignment with you. So if somebody is a harsh energy in your life, you can cut them up like a bad cancer. That's a version of death and destruction. So it seems people that are addicted to people, places, and things, people that are really in their lives, in the material, in Maya, illusion. God has a physical manifestation. It's something from a science book, a religious book. It ain't from their soul's wisdom. That's going to be a challenge because you're going to be locked out of heaven with this Eight of Swords. That's what that means for most people. I just encoded one of the mysteries for you, decoded one of them. It's when your wisdom is too much or too little for the situation. Now, this is actually positive, even so, because you're using the mind as progress. So you're like, I want love, I want love, I want love, but you're not giving me love. Okay, so now I can look at you with a red flag. I'm going to give you a second chance, but you know, what's alive in you, homie? I'm giving you some underwriting as you're going to pass. Okay? And it could be a place or thing. You know, I crave donuts every day, 3 times a day. I'm an addict. But 99% of the time I say no. And I'm doing a practice because I love my body. I think it's gorgeous. I want to look sexy. And so every time I eat a donut, I think, okay, maybe one day I can't wear the skinny jeans. And so it's a dance because it's a practice, not a perfection. Life is for living and loving and laughing and learning. So, I mean, you got to grow through what you go through, but you got to go through something. Don't be so afraid that you never take the leap. I'm not saying love's a bad thing, but when love it becomes your God instead of the way you meet God, that's the problem. And when the devil comes through, which he will, and that's a test for you to know that you've met God, you need to allow for that to happen. You need to have the wherewithal. You need to have the tools, techniques, technologies, the systems, structures, foundations to build that bigger, brighter, and better life by, hello, having some strength, courage, and wisdom. Saying no because of your self-worth and value. And not your hoping, wishing, praying, conjuring, yearning up some wounding and hurting from the past. Do you get it? Okay, so let's go to the sermon now. The subconscious mind is going to require that when something comes through, not to rest on the laurels. So get up from the table and love no longer getting served. And let's go on with the soul purpose, mission, karma, destiny, and that'll be the subject matter of this sermon. So this is a very precise technology that we're doing, and you can bring that up in your check-in as well. So for me, I'm a Saturn path. I'm on a Saturn path. So check-in for me is noon on Saturday, and that's African time. So that'll be 3 a.m. on Pacific Standard Time on Saturday. So that'll be 3 a.m. For me. Basically, you know, I should come to group on Friday and be like, hey, this is what's going on with me. And if you're a close sister and you know who you are, feel free to call me out if that's not happening. Okay, so this is great. The goddess is very pleased with me. I really needed this, mama, so thank you. Because I was in some trouble. And I hope we're at about an hour because I'm getting kind of tired. I want to go. Oh, we're at 42. Okay, great. So hi, hello, welcome. Soul Purpose Saturday. Here's the sermon aspect. So we have l'imperatore, and that's in the conscious mind, the emperor, and he's staring off at l'imperatrice in the subconscious mind. And then we have the twin in eternity. This is basically the 12, so think of it as the Queen of Swords. In my mind, that's what I see when I look at the world card. And it's very specific for Thoth, because I teach the mysteries from these cards. So I see the stars, the moon, I dance across the universe, I do alchemical magic. I literally open a portal with my hips through the Thoth. I can't do that kind of magic with other decks. It's very systemic for me. I'm a master magician with cards, but there's something magical about the Thoth. I don't particularly like Aleister Crowley. His spirit is a little bit chaotic, hungry, forceful, demanding, hot. It's a Petro spirit. I'm a Radha girl myself. I like anything gold. Not counterfeit. So, anyways, so we have the Emperor staring off at the Empress, and in the middle they're meeting. So the eye is the eye of God. He's the inert energy at rest, and the goddess is what gives him life. She's the one that gives him an active energy. Magnetism is what receives electricity. So here in the conscious mind, again, those ideas that we're creating about moving on, moving forward, and also understanding, recognition, that word keeps happening in the psychic. Gabriel, the Archangel Gabriel's here. He keeps saying, Raphael as well, but he keeps saying, okay, so they want to heal your love because that's where most of the wounding has happened. To me, I'm bored with the love story. I mean, it's not that I'm incapable of love, but like I'm an Aquarian moon, so I'm very detached. To me, I love humanity. I love seeing somebody change their life, and I get so invested in helping people leverage spiritual technology to have a profound life change. Profound. Though, if it's not profound, if I'm not wild, I'm bored. So that's very anti, most people need somebody to like care about their feelings and all that stuff. Like, you need somebody to be third dimensional with you, fourth dimensional with you. I find that intolerable. So for those who are looking for a peek behind the veil, especially into me as a human, as a soul, as a spirit, that would be it. I'm very much like the Tower card, and Tower is a wonderful card. Many people love that card, and it's the throne of all of God's powers. It just happens to be. So if you don't know how to use divine truth, that you're gonna have a Tower moment. You don't grab a live wire on the ground without strong intention. Does that make sense? So the Star card is a lovely card, and she's the handler of the Tower card. Okay, that just happens to be my moon. So once you get the fuck over yourself, we're having a great time. But most people come into my energy and they can't stand being in that Tower energy, which comes through my aura. All right. So the controller, the mature Tower energy is this. The Tower is the lower form of the World card, and I consider the World card the person that I work for. She has a name. It ain't none of your business. If you really want to know it, it's Adi Shakti. That's safe to say. I'd call her a different name. Africans know it. If you're an initiated Huno, you know this name, especially if you're from Ghana. Um, Here she's just like la la da. I'm happy, I'm loving, but I'm 1,000 years in the future, and you stuck there in the dark ages, and I'm so happy you're learning your lesson. I'm not on the side that hasn't learned it. So for me, in this is a vidya. So vidya is actually like a war formation. It's a defense tactic, and for a Brahmin, not a Kshatriya. A vidya is a angle of light disguised as a lesson plan, a syllabus from that the guru gives to the disciple. So it's interesting because we have the physical world meeting the spiritual world, and we have the principle. So it's a straight up vidya formation, is what vidya translates to in Sanskrit. It's so this is called eternal alchemy for me. Basically, it's when you as a person going through a level of initiation understand how to everything you're doing, you're now making it from the standpoint of like all of your incarnations. So when a person's aware of all of their incarnations, that's a very specific type of initiation to go through. And you come to that through every lifetime seeking God, seeking Hieros Gamos, holy union. As a person, as a human, as a person in the physical, basically a person manifesting in the physical is 1/4 of the spiritual. So God, Brahma, Purusha, the Atman, 1/4 of it has manifested in the physical, and 3/4 of it are in the spiritual. And priestesses are the ones that are serving him. He gets all of his needs met, even his sexual needs met, through the priestesses serving his 1/4 in the physical. So the 3/4 in the spiritual is where you get to go and rest when you go to the promised. Now there are aspects of the this body, this 1/4 of his body manifested, that can be perceived to hell. But see, hell, you have to be living under a lord, and a lord just means that you're unawakened because you're living under somebody else's consciousness. Whenever you have a lord, it means there's something over you that has an overstanding, and you are the one with the understanding. So all the motherfuckers in the Bible talking about the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, the Lord, they need to shut the hell up, okay? And hell means that you're under something that scares you. So for a person who's just died, going towards the light is scary because there's something on earth they're attached to. If they're not an earthbound spirit, also a lower form of a demon, they're more angelic. So the light amuses them, attracts them. So they don't have a lord, or their lord exists in a higher plane. That maybe when they go and have their incarnation in that plane, and when they're ready to ascend from that plane, they get to depend there. But in this lower world, they were of service. So when they have to die, when they meet the death card, the scythe, it's not something scary. Like the little muggles that see the tarot card, the death card. It's something exciting, like the witches. They're like, oh, Scorpio. And they're like, oh, this is great. My physical self, my mortal self, my unawakened self, my shadow self gets to divide from my eternal self, and I get to ascend and go into a higher plane and manifest my consciousness there and see if I'm in alignment. Okay. So this is about coming into the knowledge of your eternal self. So the mystical schools of Egypt, it's the mystical schools of birth and death. They prepare for the afterlife because they understand that this life is a training ground. And it's funny because I'm hearing to tell you about the Gospels of John. Just Google Gnostic. Oh my gosh, girl, gorgeous. Gnostic Gospels, Gnostic Gospels, comma space Joseph. Also John more than Joseph. It's the Gospel of John, and it's really the Gnostic Gospels. And they talk about a couple of books in these Gospels that were taken out of the Bible, mainly Apocrypha and Enoch. And see, Apocrypha actually is the book of we don't truly know who is the source of this. And people don't know that the Bible was the transmission from aliens, but aliens are just beings at a higher plane than we. So they're really seraphs, and seraph angels are angels that are so glorious we can't perceive them. We can perceive all the other orders of angels, even though we can't access their energy. We can't perceive that these places where these gospels came from. So it's so funny. Humans amuse me. I'm a human in a human form. I have nothing against humans. I came from a human, and I love my mother as a Cancer. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if I'm at the third. I'm not living from my solar plexus, third dimension. I'm not. I'm living from my crown, seventh dimensional. And I don't care about your feelings and your responses again about it. And you really shouldn't have anything to say. You should have questions to be like, well, how's that not helpful and how is that helpful? There are many things that I suffer from. For instance, I suck at flirting and I'm difficult to hit on because I will completely not perceive you trying to make an emotional connection to me. Does that make sense? But I have to say it because this talks about what happens when we're living in Gaia, seventh dimensional Earth. What happens when you understand the true divine feminine, the true divine masculine? What happens when you marry spirits? Well, typically you understand your purpose in the world. Typically you have reached hero's gamos. Typically you have your place in the tribe, you know, your place in the soul group. Typically all of your problems, all of your shadow, all of your source wounding, you're looking at it, okay, I had to go through this to get to this. And this that I have now is so glorious. So what you have coming from this world, if we start talking about things that we talk about in my group, in my tribe, you have your power. You've become a source. So you were in our first, second, third dimensional body. You go on from here to your fourth, fifth, sixth dimensional body. So fourth dimensional body is oversoul. Fifth dimensional body is a planet. You become a planetary body. For most people, as an oversoul, they're the moon. So Michael Jackson here maybe went and became a moon. He had a little bit of controversy, so he might not have become a star. Maybe he became a planet. The moon is a physical body, so he became a little bit better than space dust. And I know I'm talking about Michael Jackson, and many people get offended, but you know, fuck your feelings. What's alive in you other than your lower self? Tell me about that. Right? So we go from here, our feelings, our emotions, our thoughts, our experience, our consciousness, we go towards what spirit, what frequency, what vibration are we resonating? As a moon, you become a satellite of the sun. So a sun is a source. It's an active portal creating a dragon's head and a dragon's tail, a black hole and a quasar going into the vertex and out of the vertex of a star. That's what a sun. A sun is a star that has a whirl around it, rings around it. Okay? So if you are a source, you're not parasitic, meaning the lower form of something. So in heaven, what you understand is that hell is really the bowels of the God that we live in. Because Lucifer was the first form that God took on. Don't you think that the first time God became a lion, he was kind of beastly? And then after he learned about his power, he figured out his strength, he became more regal and royal. So maybe the first physical body that God ever took on is Lucifer. And if he abandoned that, cast him out of his mind, from his conscious, and he lives in hell, he lives in the bowels. So there's a higher realm where we can talk about some of these concepts and ideas. And the divine masculine is really just the spirit of God being pushed outward. The divine feminine is really just the spirit of God that's receiving. So the earth is the spirit of God that's receiving. Oops. Okay, well, that was a mic drop. And we have the goddess. So remember I said I serve this spirit? So this is the consciousness of the earth. The consciousness of the divine feminine, which is really threefold. It manifests in three ways. And the divine the divine masculine manifests in the physical in three ways. In the spiritual, we have the Navgrahas and the Dash Avataras, and that actually, for me, I've seen it, is a manifestation of him. But see, you can divide God because God is a straight line. You can't divide the feminine because she's a curved line. She's a circle. He's a box. He's a square. You can divide in a square. You can't divide a circle, really. Not truly. For me, as a priestess, that's what I would say. So that was an interesting sermon. That was a straight channel. I really appreciated that because I've been having such a challenge with. I just want to clarify something. And for the priestesses, the tarot students, I did a 7-pact grading. So I call it a septenary scale, and it would be it's really like it's a grade 17 class where you learn how to use this. But what you do is you do the 7-pack. So you go through your deck and you create 2 decks from one. So anything that is below a 7 or a princess goes on one side, and then the 7s, the 8s, the 9s, all the way up to the kings, the queens, and the jacks, they go on the other side. And so it literally talks about the kingdom of heaven, and that's the technology. So 1 through 6 is you're going on the earth, and when you're 7, basically now you begin your pilgrimage. And so the pilgrimage, the princess she was born in the castle, so she can go into the house of God, but you were God's child. You'd just forgotten or been separated or fallen from your grace. So that's why the messages came out today the way they came out, and that was just a direct message to the children. This was presided over Mercury. So Thoth, we had Thoth with us today, and also Mahadev. So we had Thoth and Shiva. Tahuti, Thoth, Hermes, Mercury, Pluto, Hades. Now, I didn't speak with Mr. A. That's who I called the devil. I know him by name. He sits in one of my councils. He's very selfish. And he has boobs, but a dick. It's really true. But uh, we had to talk a lot about the shadow, and so I guess the shadow here is in hell, but you're in hell when you're obsessed with love, especially love of another human. So self-love gives you the keys because the Emperor has the key to the house, and it's actually the very next card from the Empress if you follow the string of the tarot. So let's pull some medicine. I'm hearing, who could it be now? Mahadev is the it's the to me that's who the great masculine is, the divine masculine. See, to me, the divine masculine is the spirit of the masculine that comes onto Earth. So for me, I know that this is a matrilineal tribe, and this part of the galaxy we live under a female. Men aren't actually from this universe, and there are 12 Earths in total. So Earth is really just a library, and when you can experience the third dimension, that's really when you can experience things in the flesh. And the purpose for experiencing things in the flesh is to understand the emotional gradient. I've left that a long time ago. So I don't care about the emotions of things. I care about the leaving it, the ascension of it. So that's why we come to Earth. If we call it something different than Earth when we're not wanting to experience things from the solar plexus, that's the third dimension, the solar plexus of the universe. When we want to experience from another place, we experience and say, okay, so we have the 12 signs of the zodiac. The masculine signs are the different physical Earths. The feminine signs are the inner Earths. So there are actual places where you can take on a form, a ship. You have relationships, citizenships, friendships, right, partnerships. But if they're feminine, they're in emotion. Okay, so your emotions in subtle realms and realities, they could take on a form. We would know them as sacred geometry. So there's the seed of life, the flower of life, whatever. It's really, is it a 5-sided, 6-sided, is it 8-sided, a 10-sided? Okay. And it takes on, so we're very aware of a torus field, a global field. That's a situation. We're living in a field that has a vibration of 6. So 6 is sex, and sex means union, and union means you can bring in darkness or you can anchor in a negative seed. So this is a reality, Earth, in the flesh where free will exists, because in the 6th vibration, which is spiritual, 5 is not, and that's what we see and perceive because of the colonizers, because of the fall. But the 6th vibration, it's great, it's the Garden of Eden, but you can breathe the devil in. So you can have something, but you can also mutate that thing that you have. And in that level of mutation, that's hell. So there's another way that we do it. We don't even need a colonizer to create hell on earth for us. But if for some reason we took this God-like thing and we separated it, or we separated from God, we went against nature. I'm hearing some dark things, and the word transvestite just came out, so I'm going to have that conversation in a whole nother conversation because it can hurt a lot of feelings, but there's a message there because I don't think gay is bad. Okay, so this is the hell. Because on Earth right now in 2019, we get given concepts of love and money, and they're given to us from a spiritual perspective, from a 7th dimensional perspective, from where I'm at. You give the people love so that they get distracted from other things, and you give them marriage, which is really a slavement device because animal husbandry is talking about cattle, to have them externalize their personal power. So for women, they get taken from their heart chakra where God lives, and they get put in their sacral chakra where the devil lives. And for men, you take them out of heart where God lives, or you take them out of their really elevated man, the divine masculine, lives actually in his higher heart, which is the throat chakra, and you push him down to his solar plexus. So he perpetuates the trauma and the wounding that women receive, and so that the devil lives in the sacral chakra. Satan, Moloch lives in the third chakra, not where God lives, Shiva. God lives in the fourth chakra. So that's what is the technology today. And that's why I'm talking about third dimensionally. If you're a light worker, you have to get people away from love and the twin flame situation. Okay. So if the card in the middle were the lovers or the temperance card, that would tell me, oh, we have a twin flame here. I need to see a two of cups maybe, or a 10 of cups somewhere. Either any 10 or 2 will tell me what kind of relationship it is. So the 4 actually talks about, so we do have twin flames here because the 4 talks about the twin flame, especially the 4 of wands, because that's the 1111 card in the Rider Waite. So we do have, so, but we have it, so the Mahadev, God is an inert energy. God doesn't exist the way that we think God exists. God is a woman, is what I'm saying, but I'm saying it in different words. The consciousness of God can only be expressed in the feminine way here in the world, and God doesn't exist in a world where it's onlys. It's everything and nothing in the same place at the same time. So there's infinite opportunities. But the consciousness of God is expressed as the feminine. The awareness of God is expressed as masculine. So when the third eye gazes upon something, that's very masculine. But what it perceives, what it processes, what it wants and desires from what it views out of the third eye is feminine. If you see your child having their first kiss or compassionately giving the last dollar in their pocket to a homeless person or getting run over by a bus, whatever you're perceiving through your eye has a response. So that response and the ability to decide or want to do something versus according to that response, that's feminine. But the perception and the witnessing, the awareness, strike that word witnessing, because that in its nature is feminine. But the awareness of that thing happening, that in its of its nature is the third eye, is the masculine. And then the physical representation, the external personification of that feminine thing, of that eternal thing, that is masculine as well. So it's conscious experience. That's what's feminine. So God is actually a female. But the power of God, okay, the word of God, the throne of God, that's actually masculine. So God itself is both. It's either expressing its awareness. How do we see that in the third dimension? Shame. I would call it a different word than shame. Remorse. Grief is the highest version of shame, in my opinion. And I know that doesn't work for some people because you think grief is something else, but that's my personal opinion and my professional judgment. Let's move on. So welcome. It was happy to have this with you. We'll get back on subject next time. And I like to record the Soul Purpose Saturday on Thursday and set it and forget it to upload on 3 p.m. Saturday Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, whatever. Okay, minus 7 GMT, noon Saturday. And I work for Saturn, so this is my baby. Although what made me hot to trot on YouTube was the Soul Purpose, not the Soul Purpose, the 1111 Divine Lovers reading. So for the feminine, we have the medicine of change direction. For the masculine, we have the bring humor into life, and I'll speak about it again. And then for the both of them, we have take steps to get healthy. Now, this is not a love reading, so the feminine aspect of you is your soul, the place where your spirit resides. So where you can feel God in your heart, okay? The part of you that receives the infinite. And I'm talking about, man, I mean, I look at God exceptionally sexually, and I look at the goddess like I'm her child and like it's my mama. And sometimes when I cry like a bitch, I think she bitch slaps me, and then I'm sitting there in her lap crying like a little baby. And when she's done dusting me off, I'm ready to go out and fight again. That's how I look. I mean, when I think that way, I feel like I'm spiritual and devotional. And when I begin to step into my own godhood, which I'm a demigod as a human, as a black human. I'm a demigod, not anything other than that. And if I think anything other than that, I'm in my ego, right? And so this is the antithesis of the spiritual practice we have in the church, in the temple here. Okay, and I say antithesis instead of synthesis because there's something that we focus on it being not something outside of ourselves. So the reason that it's the vertex of abundance is because there's a place you go to seek refuge, and it's a principle. And the principle can be according to something you see outside. So I like faith-based religions, faith-based spiritualities. When I became a Buddhist, and Buddhist is not a religion, it's a practice. It's a quality of purification of mind that can be applied to any actual. I'm actually a Vodoun. I'm a Vodunsi. I'm a Shivite. I believe in Shiva. I believe in Mawusek Polisa and Oludumare. Okay, that's what I believe, and I believe that the oceans are Yemaya's womb, and I believe that the sun is the eye of God, and that there's a being behind the sun judging me, and that since I serve heaven, I get judged harsher and faster than people. Normally, people get judged every couple thousand years, and the trumpet gets sounded, and we go on to a new age. Like Trump in the White House now, I believe that happens in 2020. And so here I am on YouTube telling the divine masculine and feminine some mess here. So the divine masculine is the consciousness of God manifest. For example, life itself. That's God. The sun itself, that's all of everybody's consciousness shine bright. And you see it subtly in the aurora borealis. Okay. And then feminine is literally, to me, it's every single mother on earth. But maybe another way to look at that would be the experience of life. When you have some delicious banana bread. For me, maybe other people, it's, I don't know. I like black walnut pie as well. I don't like chocolate. People think that's weird, but I like chocolate after I've done ayahuasca or mushrooms. That's about it. Any other time, I don't want it. Um, life could be a watermelon at a picnic or a barbecue, or life could be laughing at a Tyler Perry movie. Whatever, whatever life is to you. The experience of life could be that is the goddess. So change direction. Mama's saying. Your goal is to make one solid, effective, healing choice by the end of the day that compatible change your life in the direction of your life. And this is a color. She's telling me to talk some shit to you. So there's something going on where we hide, where we don't show up, where we buffer. We're not coming out to play. We're avoidant of a person, place, or thing. And if I just get right down to the third dimension, look for somewhere area in your life where you're anxious. Because anxiety means there's a feeling behind that anxiety that you really don't want to feel, and you're buffering or medicating that real feeling with anxiety. So, anxiety, usually you're living from an experience of wounding in the past, thinking that the future is going to hurt you again. And the real thing is you need to deal with the truth and the nature of that feeling. So behind that anxiety is the real feeling that you still need to experience that you first felt when you were first wounded. And now you come to that feeling and you go through that feeling, and that will be the Scorpio, that will be the death. Because at the edge of that darkness is your light. So you can love truly when you are loving yourself and you're showing up loving yourself with another person, and that person supports you loving yourself in a non-toxic way, narcissist, in a non-toxic way, that's true love. So when you love on another person, you love them for what loving gives you, not because they respond some kind of way. Some of you have abusive family members. Some of you have had some type of nastiness happen in your family. My grandmother was violent. She would beat the shit out of us. Okay? She was an angry woman, spiteful. But I love the shit out of her. And I, every day in prayer, I say, thank the womb that you used to bring me here. I literally say that. Bless the womb that I came through. But You know, so you can love on a person and they can be toxic to you as well, is what I'm saying. And you need to understand that. The types of people that I'm normally attracted to can be very toxic for my life. And for me, it's not what they'll do to me anymore before they would actually do things to me, violate my boundaries. Now they bring in distractions. And for me, the devil comes in lethargy, laziness, avoidance, aversion. Before, the devil would come in addiction, whether it was sex addiction, drug addiction, or otherwise, sleeping with people's husbands. So remember, the devil is cunning and baffling. And we can experience God through love, but the devil also comes through that as well, because you can use love spelled backwards either as evil or evolve. Okay, so it says here for the females or for the divine feminine to make one solid, effective healing choice by the end of the day that can positively change the direction of your life. Knowing that healing sometimes depends on strength, willingness, and ability to change direction. Many people postpone doing so due to fear of laziness, and then they wonder why they are not so happy and healthy. So remember, I was talking earlier that I got bitch slapped by the goddess. I got a spanking, a bad spanking from mom. She had to say, she said, get to work. I was just dealing with some personal stuff, and I was taking too long. My break became a week. My week became 2 weeks, and people hadn't heard from me. So for the divine masculine, your goal is to bring humor to everything that causes you to stress. This, as this is one of the most empowered responses that you can have. See, nothing's happening to you; it's happening for you. Even my haters. See, it's funny. See, when haters give me energy, I just take their energy and I transmute it to something positive. So I thank them for being there because they're validating me being in the world. The fact that I can exist in the world and actually make somebody take time out of the day to try to teach me a lesson means that they heard me. And I personally believe that if you don't have people trying to take you down, you ain't doing anything. Because if there's not, and this is something specific to the Kali Yuga, so during the dark times, when most of the folk are unspiritual, if most of the people aren't living, okay, so most people understand if you're not living like the Bible, we're the devil is here. Okay, so I live in an Indian way of life. So for me, it's like if most people are not doing daily spiritual practice, it's the dark times. Because everybody's doing it, and then 3/4 of people are doing it, and then less than half people are doing it, and then it's less than a quarter of the people are doing it, and then we have the age of destruction. And it's supposed to be 2020 with the last president being Trump. And I'm an oracle. I'm a true, genuine Claire. Any Claire I have. Visions, hearing, smells, sounds, touch, knowing, all of them. I'm blessed. And I see the timeline so much. And it changes a lot. What stays the same is Trump will be the last president of America as we know it. Now, America will fall, but it could turn into something different. It could completely go away. It could turn into Juliet's situation like Handmaidens. Who knows? I haven't seen all those things I just said. I've seen many different things, and it's my burden to carry as an oracle. What I'm saying is, I think the writing's on the wall that we've had these cards since the 1600s, these tarot cards, and in 2020 we're going to have Trump as the last president, and they've been talking about him being the last president on The Simpsons forever since it started. And they've known about the Twin Towers since the 90s, and that happened in the 2000s. And I think there's a global cabal of devilish function, and it's manifested through priests and priestesses. So God, he's living on earth as 1/4 of himself as he is in heaven, right? So we talk about the 144,000. Well, 144,000, there's some math in there, but we also get to the number 72. Half of the 72, so 144,000 is 72 angels or orders of angels, or 72,000 angels or angelic lineages, and then there's also 72,000 demonic lineages. So there are priests in the world that do devilish things, and so they're worshiping, they have a collective energy on earth that's entombed negatively. And so also the Vodoun sees on earth, we have a collective energy on Earth. It's in the bottom of the ocean, and it's godlike in its nature. So a warlock, a magician, a sorcerer, they would use certain energies, seven colors of the rainbow, to do specific things. See, when you're using love as a technology, you're using green. But see, if it's hurting you, it's either pushing you into yellow or pushing you into orange. So if it's pushing you into yellow, you're using words, theories, concepts, ideas in terms of intellect, reason, and communication. You're using forms of air, forms of light, systems, structures, laws, the Bibles, women serving men, whatever, those patriarchal concepts, ideas, institutions. If you're using those light forms, air, that's masculine. If you're using emotion, craving, judging, women do those things more. Those are feminine in their nature, and so that's more orange. Okay, because you experience your emotions faster than you experience your thoughts. Typically, your thoughts block your emotions, and that's more masculine. Men don't ask for directions. Women will stop immediately the moment they think they're lost. The moment they're exacerbated from searching around and around, they stop and ask somebody. They stop and have a conversation or compliment somebody's blouse. That's when a higher aspect of a female. She's gonna be like, girl, your blouse is so cute. Oh my gosh, them hair, girl. Look at those fucking box curls. Girl, you working it. Tell me when you get to this XYZ LMOP shop I'm trying to get to. Okay, sister, you have a lovely day. You looking fly, you looking blessed. Bless the goddess for making some pretty babies. Get yours in your car and you're on to the next, right? So what is gonna be the devilish version of that person? Oh, fuck this bitch and her cute. She thinks she's cute in her polka dots. What? I don't want to ask permission. I don't want to ask directions. Right? Again, I tell this story all the time because I love this story. I love this story. You're dying. You're flooded. Right? You're in some type of river. You fell into a ditch and you're about to drown. And you're like, God save me. God save me. Lifeboat comes along and you're like, I'm waiting for God to save me. I don't want to lifeboat even though I'm drowning. Okay. And then a helicopter comes and it's like, okay, here's a little ladder, come up in this helicopter. You're like, well, thank you, helicopter, to come and save me even though I'm drowning. I'm just going to wait for God to come save me. And then, finally a hovercraft comes along this ditch you fell into, or ditch or culvert or whatever. You're drowning. And this lifeboat is turned into a helicopter, is turned into a hoverboard or hovercraft or whatever on the bayou. And it's like, hey, get in, you're about to die. And you're like, I'm waiting for God to come save me. So now you're dead in heaven. And you're like, God, what's wrong with you? You're not even in heaven yet. You're at judgment right in front of heaven, right? And stand looking at the pearly gates. And you're like, God, why didn't you come save me? He's like, fool, you got to go back and do it again. You did not pass that test. I sent a lifeboat. I sent a helicopter. I sent a hovercraft like they have in the bayou, and they did not come for you because you sent them away. So essentially, I gave you a gift 3 times and you did not use it, so it's considered abuse. And you have to try again, or you get to serve in the other place. We're going to call that hell because whatever it is, it scared you. So the spiritual principles I've sent you of a lifeboat and a hovercraft and a helicopter terrified you. And your concept and idea, your air, your belief, your thought forms blocked you from the gates of heaven. The help I sent you, the blessing I gave you, you said no to it. So if you're living that way, you're living in hell. That's what hell is. Exists right here. And for women, it usually involves a man or money. And for men, it usually involves doing something wrong and living guilty for it. And also, again, it's a man in heaven having abused his gifts, so having said no to the lifeboat, and the hovercraft, and the helicopter. Typically, men will not ask for directions. Okay. So it's a little different, but hell is for the person. It's just a vibration to God. Are you living above 700 megahertz? Can you exist in the purple frequency, in the ultraviolet? If not, you're in the infrared. because things need to die. There's cancer in you that needs to get cut out, or you're going to continue to stay fallen. So, if that's the case for you, your goal is to bring humor to everything that causes you stress. And this is the most empowered response you can have. So I would have said, hey, guy on the hovercraft, you fine as hell. Those dreadlocks. I can see your little basketball shorts. You're swinging around. What is your name? Are you single? Did your name happen to be God? Because I was calling to him and clearly he sent you. You know, I would be like that. Versus, I'm waiting for God. The funny thing is, the white people got me. I was living in the new world, doing tarot, being a little cute priest in the new world, and I've met God several times. He looks like an Ade child, like he looks like an Obatala child. To me, when God comes to visit me, silver hair, black skin, pearly white teeth, and making fun of me. There's a specific spirit. In the Vodoun world, we call him Otosi. I call him Ade. He's a Rudra, so the Hindis would call him a Rudra energy. Rudra, I'm married to Rudra. So we can call him Mahadev. It's a Shiva energy. And I have a way, relationship problems. Not anymore because I'm a priest. I'm celibate now. But shadow relationships, karmic partnerships, whatever, however that manifests for me personally. There's always a certain type that's put fear into my heart every time I've met them. I've been deathly attracted to them, but, choked trying to get with them or manifested them slightly, and then they come in my life, through my life, and leave my life in a storm. Okay? And it's always exactly that type. And I know what the divine masculine looks like now. I can recognize it when it shows up in my life. But I had to fail 100 times, 1,000 times, a dozen times, really like 4 times in my 32 years of being on Earth, 33 years of being on Earth. I just, that's what the divine masculine looks like for me. And the funny thing is, it is always humor. And I don't like jokes. I have a sense of humor, but I don't like jokes. They infuriate me, and I don't like flirting. It infuriates me, and I'm the kind of person that would attract Shiva. So of course, when my fury comes through, it's like a tower. It's like the thunder, and I don't hang around people that are afraid of that. I'm not a lamb. I'm a lion. I eat lamb. So if you're a lamb, run to the corner and piss your pants because I'm a lion and I'm gonna roar and I don't give a fuck about your feelings on that, right? So these are the times when the lamb alive in me was trying to tell the lion to be conditioned and programmed. I'm seeing this divine masculine. So that's when you've shifted from the lower level unawakened. You're on the higher level, right? Now for me, sex is ecstatic bliss, and it's not about genital stimulation. It's not about exchanging body fluids. And when I meet God, I feel very receptive and I want to get down on my knees and pray and worship at his throne and serve him with every fiber of my being and completely receive him. And every nook, in every crevice, in every hole, in every pore of my body, I want him and I crave him when I meet God in the physical. Best believe I have the desire to get on my knees and pray. But now it's different. What's alive in me is a goddess who can reach ecstatic bliss and open up a portal with her hips and into the divine gates of heaven in Heros Gamos versus hell. Whatever's going on, I'm not even going to get into that alchemical ritual. Okay. But again, another reason, if you're two spirit, we're going to have the conversation about anal sex and gay sex. That tends to be more demonic, and I'm not saying that gay sex is evil or that gay is evil. I'm just saying the devil is more around the anus, and the goddess is more around the womb. I'm just going to put that out there and move on. Just like if you hear your left ear stimulated, ringing, that's more demon. If your right ear is stimulating, that's more heaven, angel, but not always, just in the beginning. Same thing with the back door. Not always, just in the beginning. Okay, so your goal is to bring more humor to everything that causes you stress, as this is one of the most empowering responses you can have. Think about whether you truly have a sense of humor. Healing is enhanced with humor, and laughter can lighten almost anything. Certainly most day-to-day irritations. Yeah, I fucking hate people. I really do. I hate humans. Not humanity, just people. How are you doing? I hate that question. My phone ringing. I hate my phone ringing. Emails. I mean, I don't want to say hi, how are you? I don't want to know how you're doing. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care about you. I don't. I don't. Now, if you're going to come replace my hummingbird feeder, if you're going to come landscape my garden, I want to bring you lemonade. I want to know your wife's name. I want to know your children. I want to know where they're going to school. I want to know how you're building a nation. I want to know about the next generation. And then I'm going to leave you to fucking work for me, and I'm going to go live my life. That's how I live. And in that, there's a point. In that, there's something calling. In that, there's something responding. And the awareness of what's calling to and what's responding, that's your witness, and that's where God lives for you. So I'm saying all these things that sound horrible and antisocial. Those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. I'm really a love. I'm a Cancer. You can never hate a Cancer unless they're a manipulative bitch. And just like a Virgo, you can never hate a Virgo unless they're a neurotic bitch. Excuse me. Inside joke. So my midheaven is Virgo, and I have Cancer in my chart, so I'm not yelling at anybody. But my point will be in this card here. Today's lesson. Think about one aspect of your physical health that you've been neglecting or avoiding, and ask yourself why you've been doing so. So it's not just physical health, okay? Your goal is to end the day by committing to one new step and identifying why you're choosing to sabotage instead of heal. So when you arrive at shadow in your life, like for me, sometimes I go out of the house and I am unagreeable. It's fine if I am an introvert. Doesn't mean I lack social skills. It means I'm exhausted by using my social skills. So if I'm leaving the house, maybe I should know to fix my fucking attitude and smile at people, right? If I'm leaving the house, maybe I should know that now I'm around people and to stop barking and growling. Right? That's all. That's all. Doesn't mean I have to change who I am. It just means I need to have an ability to be in an even space, and I shouldn't swing my pendulum to one side or the other, right? If I want to maintain friendships, I should probably call people back and answer the phone. That's all. So when my friends stop calling me, I should probably not bitch and know that it's partly me as well. And if I'm always, curmudgeon-y, if I'm always a little Grinch or Ebenezer Scrooge, that might be why people want to deal with me less, right? Things like that. So again, sense of humor, and take steps to get healthy. So emotions are your physical body. Whatever you need to tell yourself. If you're arguing with me, it's because the science books and the history books still work on you. Maybe the religious books too. Fuck your ideas. That's the response. That get as angry as you need, have the worst feeling, and then listen to what I'm saying, understand the concept and idea, apply it to your system of logic by understanding my concepts and ideas, and then we can talk again. Emotions are physical. Also, you're fat because you don't want to be skinny. Now, I know people have health issues, and I'm not talking about fat. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it's getting your attention. If you want it badly enough, you would have it already, or you would be asking everybody you know for help. Now, some people have health issues. Some people don't care about being skinny. You can be big boned and still be very healthy. And, you know, I used to be 30 pounds overweight. I was on this weird medication, da 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 da. Okay. Some people make excuses and some people get results. So when you're committing to a new step, it's not you're not getting skinny for other people, you're doing it for yourself. And getting skinny, your physical body, it shows. More food's going in than it's being burned, so it's getting stored. Bank accounts should be fat. So the word fat, that's the negative connotation. Okay. So things accumulate, and things should accumulate in certain places and should accumulate in other places. So if something's not accumulating, like a bank account, there's habits that are going against that. And sometimes the habit is believing that your self-worth and value is enough where you're in a job where you can't afford your living expenses, and it depletes your bank account. It creates an obstacle to your bank account becoming fat. So the healthy thing, because money is physical, it's a spiritual and physical thing. Emotions are a spiritual and physical thing. Food is a spiritual and a physical thing. Essentially, it's your diet which creates emotions. Now, thoughts, when they become things like anger and rage, thoughts are future, that's not physical. Emotions are present, that's physical. Feelings are the past, because they're emotions that have been processed through the mind, and now they're feelings. So feelings are in the past is also physical. Because feelings to you matter. They become concepts and ideas about people, who they are, your moral judgment. Okay. And then when you have a life based on all these concepts and ideas of how things should be and should and are and everything, about husbands and wives should be and how a man should be and whatever, that becomes physical as well. But those are things that become like cancer. So you don't want feelings to become physical unless they're feelings of empowerment and autonomy. But emotions, those are in the present because you process them and you either align with them or unalign with them. And if you're unawakened, then they're becoming you. You're taking them on. So we're talking about health and we're talking about physical health, but that also includes your money, that also includes your emotions and your feelings. Emotions you can't help. Sometimes you're walking out in the street and it starts to rain. Emotion, there's a physical sensation there. You can't always help an emotion. You can help a feeling. Feelings are thoughts, thoughts can be controlled. Your thoughts create energy, energy creates things that manifest. Your thoughts create energy. Feelings is a vibration that matters, so that water becomes matter. Okay? So feelings are thoughts. Thoughts can be controlled by having a mind that's awake and that sees God all the time. So you'll have feelings that process in the mind, and you need to have the awareness of God in the mind so that the goddess in your heart, the feelings, can be in alignment, because the power, what manifests, comes from the feelings, but the things that get manifested come from the mind. What's getting manifested is whatever's out of the mind, and your mind calls anything up. So basically, your mind is planting seeds, and your heart is the ground that the seeds have been planted in. So according to what your heart nourishes is what gets born in your life, what grows from the soil. I just said the God and the goddess. The goddess is the soil. The seed is God that's getting planted. Okay? So that's a way to understand that feelings are physical. I mean, yeah, emotions. Feelings are physical. Okay? Also, money. So there's no poverty in spirituality, meaning, yeah, some people renounce, but you're still rich. So money does not make you wealthy. Is what I'm truly saying, and I'm not saying that because you're poor, you're not spiritual. Some people hear that. I get emails. Y'all sound stupid to me. If you feel the need to call and yell at me, you've already lost, dear. I've already won. By the end of the day, commit to that new step or identify why you're choosing to sabotage your healing. Think about one aspect of your physical health that you have been neglecting and avoiding, and ask whether you've been doing, why you've been doing so. Perhaps your diet needs to change, or you need to exercise more. So, diet. That's the people you're around, the feelings that you're processing. That's your fears, your anxieties, if you're holding on to them, not working through them. That's your ignorance. All of that is your diet. People, places, and things that you're around will grow. So if you're poor because the average of your 5 closest friends is poor. So if you want to own a house, go start talking to your friends with a house. If you want to own a business, go start talking to your friends with a business. If you want to own a business, start reading books and stop watching TV. I don't care about your entertainment. I don't care about you needing to escape from the world. You're taking a spiritual gift and wasting it. You're getting a spiritual lifeboat, time, a life, an incarnation, and you're wasting it. Billionaires will tell you that they can't afford cable, and you know if they're a billionaire, they can afford cable. What they're saying is it has opportunity costs. If I have a TV and I'm paying for cable, it's because my grandchild needs entertainment, but I would rather he entertain himself in my library. And I guarantee you, it's a millionaire that has a library in his house and a poor person with a 72-inch TV in their house. So when I talk about your diet, I'm talking about your diet. It's your people, places, and things in your life. You're stupid because you're stuck on stupid and you surround yourself with stupid things. Stupid means you know the right thing or you have access to the right thing, but you take the easier wrong versus the harder right. If you're responding to the words I'm saying and not the spirit behind the meaning of the words that I'm saying, you're living in the darkness. I'm going to check in with the comments. Okay, great. So we're wrapping up. Go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Let's pull a little bit more clarification here. Okay, so expansion for the feminine, impartiality for the masculine, grief. You know, as a Cancer, I learn a lot through grief, and that's always what takes me out. I'm the bitch that'll die from a broken heart, and I'm using potty language. Pardon me. So I can't take on like. If you tell me you doubt me, I'm going to start doing things that make you distrust me. If you tell me that you trust me, I'm going to start doing things that earn more trust. But I'm a Cancer and my sun is in the 8th house, so literally I'm a mirror. But I hate that shit, and that's why I don't like sun in Gemini, don't like sun in the 8th house, don't like sun in Libra. It's because your ego is in a place where you shouldn't have ego. So my ego it has to deal with other people because my ego is that of being attracted to anybody that I'm around. So if I like you, it's because I think you're pretty and you'll be in my life. And I'm not always talking about your face. Some people are so ugly, and I'm not talking about their face. So there's not, for me, I don't have ugly things in my life. That's where I'm racist. I'm not against fat people. I'm not against racist. I'm against ugly people. I'm against ugly things. I'm against ugly places. That's where my aversion comes to. Somebody not liking me, I don't care because I think something happened that was spiritual and I changed your life. So I actually love you. And if you don't like me, the thing is, I have my sun in my 8th house. I have my Venus in my 8th house. I have my Mars. I have my Mercury in the 8th house. I'm transmuting your fucking shit. And I'm being propelled forward regardless of what you send. But Lilith is there too. Come for me. Right? So it's a double-edged sword, but see, that's what I'm getting here. Because we have impartiality for the masculine, expansion for the feminine, but grief in the middle. So you're getting impartiality and expansion from that grief. You're having to go through the darkness. So for me, I always have that 8th house moment, that shadow moment. It's like, oh, somebody doesn't like me. Oh, the truth comes out. Oh, I'm in a situation where there's conflict. Okay, well, I'm gonna bleed. My heart's gonna break. So my heart will be open if it's broken. It might have had to be broken open, but now it's open. Okay, my heart's aware. I'm aware of the truth. It might be a harsh truth, but now it's the truth. Okay, this person doesn't like me, but they're leaving my life. Okay, but now my life is open for what I learned from that person. Does that make sense? So for me, everything hurts is another reason I'm so detached, because when I do attach, everything hurts. It always hurts. Loving somebody hurts. I don't want to come home from work and tell you how my day was. And I know you love me, you want to know, but I don't give a fuck about you and what you want to know. I don't want to talk about my fucking day. Example. I don't want to tell you how I'm doing. I'm in my mind. I haven't decided. The moment I label my day, I've given it a name, and now I've messed with my experience. Don't tell me hello. You're telling me, hey, you're in hell. I don't want to know how you're doing. I don't want to tell you how I'm doing. I know you love me. I don't give a fuck about how you love me. I love me too. Right? It's that kind of dichotomy. See, when you can go to both sides of the spectrum, that's when you really master. I wipe my ass and I'm like, why am I wiping my ass? It's only going to get dirty again. I wipe my ass because I'm a gay man and I like a clean kitchen, okay? But impartiality is to ask those questions. To be like, hey, this hurts. But it hurts a little bit less than the last motherfucker that did this to me. And now I can recognize the motherfucker before I let him in. So thank you for hurting me. And now you gave me myself. Right? It's that kind of energy. So it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you today. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to do so. The information that you would need is in the show notes. There's a lot of changes coming. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to go smoke a joint. Have a nice day. Bye.